Why is President Biden attacking Israel? I'm Barry Shaw, and this is The View from Israel. Well, Israel was very appreciative of America's very strong and affirmative stance with us after the horrors of the 7th of October. It was the right and moral thing to do. And on that dreadful day, Israel found itself in a war against good against evil. And since the same war several months later, as we methodically tried to destroy the horrific and historic terrorist infrastructure that Hamas has built in Gaza. But now Biden is hitting out against Israel. He signed an executive order punishing 4 Jews, what he called Israeli settlers, banning them from entering the United States and blocking their bank accounts. He's ordering sanctions on Israel while rewarding the Palestinians that are killing Israelis by the thousands. He's reported to have insulted our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, using the F word. And if Israel doesn't agree with what the Biden administration is trying to do right now, post-Gaza, he now seems to be interfering in Israeli domestic politics. This is happening against massive anti-Israel demonstrations taking part on American streets and on their campuses as well. And this is starting to disrupt the American political election season. Palestine has become an election issue in America, as the Free Palestine protesters are trying to force candidates to bend to their will. And one sensitive location, for instance, is Michigan, a swing state which has a large number of Arab and Muslim voters. And in my opinion, the election is forcing Biden to publicly punish Israel in order to win votes. As I said, he's issued an executive orders against 4 Israelis because he calls them violent Israeli settlers, and is punishing them a travel ban. They are not allowed into the United States, and also freezing their bank accounts. So let me go through them one by one. David Chai Hissai was involved in protests in an Arab town called Huwara. It's an Arab town where 2 of his friends were murdered by Palestinian gunmen as they drove through the town. His act was an angry reaction to the brutal murder, as I said, of 2 of his friends. But Biden hasn't brought any executive orders against the hundreds of, not thousands, of Palestinians who have murdered Israelis at the behest of the Palestinian Authority, which is now rewarding in order to have them control Gaza and with statehood. He didn't put an executive order on Mahmoud Abbas, who was rewarding the killers of Hissai's friends in his notorious policy, strange policy. The second guy, Einat Tangil, was convicted in a plea deal in 2021 attack against left-wing protesters outside of Hebron when they came to disturb him and the places where he was living. No one was killed in this attack, and certainly no Palestinians. It was a Jew actually attacking other Jews, and yet Biden has put an executive order on him. Shalom Zickerman was accused, but not convicted, of throwing a rock at a car not containing Palestinians, but with left-wing Israeli activists who came to make trouble outside his home of Mitzpeh Yair. His case, by the way, is still ongoing in an Israeli court. But Biden still sanctions Zickerman, who is still innocent until proven guilty. The 4th man, Yinon Levy, was accused of protesting in the Arab villages in Susia after the 7th of October massacres. His case is in an Israeli court. It's ongoing. He's not been proven guilty of anything. Certainly didn't kill anybody. And yet, Biden, the American president, is punishing him unjustly out of all proportion. Why? The cases against these 4 are in the Israeli law courts, and if proven guilty, they'll be punished. Their cases are rare, unlike the tsunami of Palestinian terrorists who attack and kill Israelis by the thousands. So why is a busy president turning on 4 Jewish men, sanctioning them, and not the Palestinians, including their leaders, who are committing a genocide against Israeli Jews? Let me give you context. Israel has arrested over 3,000 Palestinians living under the Palestinian Authority that Biden wants to reward since the start of the war in Gaza, and these people should be placed on terrorism charges. No Biden executive orders on these 3,000, of which 1,350 are affiliated to Hamas while living under the auspices of Mahmoud Abbas. The most recent attack, just before I came on air, was by a 14-year-old Palestinian boy who stabbed an Israeli policeman near Ma'ale Adumim, an Israeli town in Judea and Samaria. So I ask again, why is Biden pushing an anti-Israel agenda based on BDS lies? We need to understand this strange behavior of an American president at a very pressing time for Israel. The Biden Gaza policy to impose the Palestinian Authority on Gaza totally ignores the nature of the beast. Let me spell out facts ignored by the Biden administration. The Palestinian movement has always been dedicated to the staged elimination of Israel from the river to the sea. They shout it openly, but Biden and Blinken behave as if the Palestinians have changed their stripes. They haven't. The Palestinians are still bent on a world without Israel, a Palestine without Jews, as they've never reneged on that ambition. Not Arafat, not Mahmoud Abbas, not Hamas, not the Palestine Islamic Jihad, not the Palestinians who voted 75% for Hamas and Hamas leaders, even as they live under Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority. And these polls came after the horrors of the 7th of October. Palestinians still want to kill Jews, and Hamas just diverted billions of dollars of international aid into building a massive terror infrastructure that you're watching our soldiers destroy right now in Gaza. The whole of Gaza has become a Palestinian industry of death. In the case of Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority is the UNRWA of Ramallah, educating, indoctrinating, training the next generation of Palestinians to murder Jews. The Palestinian Authority is a genocidal organization preaching and teaching a world without Israel and Jews, and yet Biden wants to raise them to statehood and give them even more territory. Biden and Blinken are trying to achieve this goal, even if it means toppling a democratically elected Israeli government to do it. It's moving to split the war cabinet and cause division within Israeli politics, even as Israel is at war and our sons and our fathers are fighting and dying to defeat Palestinian Hamas in Gaza. A war that Biden wants to end now, is even threatening to suspend committed arms shipment to our soldiers. So I ask pertinent questions. Do Biden and Blinken trust this Palestinian Authority? Israel certainly doesn't. Once they impose this Palestinian Authority on Gaza as well as Ramallah, once they create this monster, will this Palestinian state align with Qatar, Iran, North Korea, China, Russia, the ANC, South Africa perhaps, and all the other global bad actors, and turn against the United States and the democratic world? This is the nature of this beast, and if I can see it, why can't the White House? Biden's executive orders against these 4 Jews, as I said before, are part of that campaign. This settler violence nonsense is a means to create a fictional level playing field There are no sanctions, as I said before, no travel bans, no frozen bank accounts of Hamas leaders in Qatar. No one is freezing their private planes, their luxury homes. This applies only against young Israeli settlers, most of them not even convicted. No US president should be making vital foreign policy decisions out of domestic election concerns. And his actions can be seen as throwing Israel to the dogs. And not just Israel. His decision not to strike against Iranian targets after the death and injury of US servicemen and women on the Syrian-Jordanian border smacks of Iranian appeasement. He waited 6 days before ordering a US strike against the compounds over there, giving the top Iranian commanders time to escape. Biden's appeasement of Iran is foolish and it's dangerous. Turning against Israel at this time is even more dangerous. Among other things, it incentivizes Iran to destroy Israel. Israel is getting close to finishing Hamas in Gaza. It should come with solid United States support to achieve victory and then deal with the future of Gaza. These are the better options than by gifting it to an unpopular and a corrupt Fatah PLO Palestinian Authority. It didn't work in the past. It's likely to get even worse in the future. And Biden must be restrained from screwing up the Middle East. This is Barry Shaw, The View from Israel.
אנו מכריזים בזאת